So let me ask
basically.
you. Let's say Brooklyn, New York. Let's say Brooklyn, New York, just to narrow it down as an example. I can go to college campuses in Brooklyn, New York. There's a large Jewish population in Brooklyn, New York. I am ethnically Jewish myself, by the way. And I can do the same act Natalie does. I can do the same act Joey Carbstrong. I can do this kind of interview about the immorality of circumcision again and again and again. And I will never win. I will never make any progress. The best case scenario, and this is what some people are motivated by, is that a small number of people who agree with me send me messages on Instagram, and I get some level of money, fame, power, respect, sex within that demi-monde. Not necessarily in that order. For most people doing the shit, sex is number one. Like there was someone who said, "Oh wow, I saw those videos of you confronting Orthodox Jews about circumcision, and that's so bold." And yeah, one thing is, yes, that exists. Okay, but being real with you, the vast majority of people are never successful as Joey Carbstrong. They're never successful as anything like that. They never even have a good sex life come out. They never do. I'm sorry, like the long tail of failure is hard to see on the internet. You see a couple of positive examples. Say, "Oh wow, this is successful." You have no idea how many people try to imitate freely, do exactly the same method as freely, exactly the same method as during whatever. And the vast majority of them never got more than 100 views on a video. You know, and then you can look at how many people never got more than 1,000 views of it, never got the positives out of it, neither financially nor sexually, nor even in terms of having friends. I'm sorry, guys, like my YouTube channel was a failure, but I dwarf. I mean, sorry, look at the other fucking people's Sky interviews. I'm so much more successful than these other people you interview. Some of them have never gotten 100 views in a video. So that's one side of it. But my point is, even if you are successful in this sense, money, fame, power, respect, sex, you start having sex with your fans who hook up with you via YouTube comments or via Instagram, you get some kind of ego trip out of it or some kind of success. When you're actually talking about outcomes, no, it doesn't matter if you waste 10 years of your life. It doesn't matter if it's 20 years or 30 years. You are never going to budge the Jewish community of Brooklyn 1 inch through this method. You're never going to make a legislative difference. You're never going to influence the non-Jewish atheist community of Brooklyn. You are going to make absolutely zero impact. And I can say to you, Sky, and you know it, because it's a cultural setting you're familiar with. Someone else who's watching this, I have one fan from Israel. Oh yeah, imagine doing this shit in Jerusalem. No, the method doesn't work. The method never works. And the reason why people lie to themselves about it is that the very small number of people who benefit from it are exactly people like Wayne Seong and Stefania Ferrario, and they are so public. And the sense in which they benefit is radically unrelated to the actual political outcomes.
Well, some of these game shows that you're referring to actually have so many soft returns for the movement that I think are still tangible in a way. So, for example, I listen to people like Joey Carbstrong's a good one. He's big enough. I think Natalie's is evolving in her outreach, and I think she's doing really interesting things. But Joey, on the other hand,
just mentioned Natalie and I. We know each other. We met her in New Orleans. Go on.
I like her a lot, and I like Joey too. But I don't know Joey the way I know Natalie. So
Joey, I kind of hate, but we know each other for years. Go on.
Well, Joey Carbstrong's also so big he could take a little criticism. And I think that when we talk about people like him, he brings out, first of all, he shows how our arguments do fail, because a lot of times he's having the arguments and he's using very kind of touchstone arguments that a lot of vegans turn to in the way they respond to these questions and arguments. And then it also shows what the carnies are thinking and what they're on. And of course, you and I might think that we know all that because we see it in our comment section. We see what the carny argument du jour is, but you see it with him and how he reacts to it. I think, and it also shows you how someone in England is reacting to the footage. It's showing you, I feel like it's a little anthropological window.
Guy. I've never said this before. I'm never going to say it again. The anthropology of carnism is not veganism. The ethnographic study of what meat eaters have to say about us is not any part of the progress of the vegan movement. At best, like I understand what you're saying, you are basically flattering what Joey Carbstrong does as if it is the ethnographic study of excuses and arguments offered by media.
I guess
anthropology of carnism. Dead end.
I'm being limp-wristed. I'm being limp-wristed in my half-hearted agreement that they might not that we won't budge the community by the Carnists by 1 inch.
We can do an anthropological study of anti-Semitism. Just 2 examples: anti-Semitism today in Poland and anti-Semitism today in the West Bank, Palestine. Right? You can imagine. You can actually talk to people. How much do they hate Jews? How much do they blame Jews for their problem? What exactly is the Jewish conspiracy theory they believe in? Like, you can kind of imagine what that would uncover, and it could include on the street interviews. What is that? How does that move you 1 inch closer to your political goals? Okay, you know what moves you 1 inch closer to your political goals? Killing 20,000 people in the Gaza Strip. Well, and does anyone want to take out a bet on what the final?
I really don't want to keep going back to the Gaza Strip.
No. I'm just saying, if you believe in this method, and it's fine, but it's not our one method that's debated. If you believe in a kind of ethnography, kind of anthropological approach to looking at your enemies and opponents,
it makes for interesting It makes for interesting content, and it's one of the reasons why I enjoy it.
It will never,
whether or not it will
incrementally.
But it might succeed on each.
Anthropology.
How many individuals have told Joey Carbstrong, I've gone vegan because of, how many people have you met that have gone vegan? They've heard Gary Yourofsky's speech. How many people have you met who have gone vegan because they
people became vegan because of me?
Yes,
there are people who become vegan because of me.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. But the
point is that it does help. It does have an effect.
But there are people who become vegan because they saw a car accident. You can't make this inference from it. You know. So
yes, but now we have activists who are actively going out and having conversations with people.
Okay.
Through those conversations,
you can guess what I have to say because you've read the book, right? Okay.
Yes.
So tell me something. What about the relationship of a basketball player to members of the audience? People can sit in the audience and watch someone be a basketball player. There are guys who do it every week. How many men in America spend 3 hours a week watching basketball on TV, and they never become basketball players?
Yes, but they're not trying to be. But they could be enthusiasts of a thing that they love. Now, I would say loving the vegan movement and being a part of it is far more beneficial for society as a whole than for the greater good, maybe even than watching a sport ball event. When you're watching the sport balls, you're just cheering along and partaking in their victory. This is something,
and that is what people do when they watch Joey Carbstrong. They are
of course, there's some of that. Yeah,
that is
yes. But to say that he has no effect is a bit.
Anyone who became vegan because they watched Joey Carbstrong already had it within themselves. They had the will, they had the verve, they had the tenacity, they had the intelligence. And I give no credit to Joey Carbstrong at all. There's a very powerful image in my writing of a Buddhist monk who walks back and forth holding a stone to warm himself up. It's known as the parable of the stone robe monk. I don't know if you remember some of my writing, but he's a monk living in poverty, and the other monks light up a fire. And he instead, to save money, he doesn't bother burning firewood. He gets a heavy stone, and whenever it's cold in his monastic hut, he closes up the doors and windows. He holds this rock, and he walks in a circuit. So you can imagine why that warms you up physically, and also if the doors and windows are closed, it warms up the air around you. Okay. Now here's the error: that you point to the rock and say, "This is the source of heat in this room. Thanks to this rock, I'm not warm anymore." No, it's you. It's something in you. It's something you did. And anyone who becomes vegan because they got a pamphlet from PETA, anyone who went vegan because they saw my YouTube video, Joey Carbstrong's YouTube video, or again, I've known people, they saw a car crash. They saw something like that. They just saw something that made them reflect.
Earthling Ed says he saw a car crash and he went vegan because of all the chickens or pigs on the road.
Whatever it made him think about. So it can even just be a car crash with human corpses, human bodies.
But now you have people though actively.
But guess what? It's in you. And if you take this and
need to have those
huge audience, 50,000 people watching a basketball game, it makes no difference because they don't have it in them.
There's epiphanic moments. You're right. Maybe the watchers at home aren't having those epiphanies, but watching someone force the event to have that epiphany is what he's doing. He's showing people, and he's also inspiring others to get up and go and do this. I mean, I watch people like Cliff Grant, and he's having people are having epiphanies on the street.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
No.
Okay,
well,
so
I used to have a brother.
Most of us in this audience, we have brothers and sisters. They never become vegan.
Yeah, I don't have anybody like that.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how much they see the benefits. Doesn't matter how much they see my
That's a
YouTube
whole
videos.
different phenomenon. I mean, that's because brothers and sisters don't respect each other like they do strangers.
If you have what it takes, to be a basketball player, you cannot inspire even one person in the audience to become a basketball player. That's not how it works. Some people are couch potatoes forever. The vast majority of the audience will never develop the skill, the self-discipline, the athleticism to play competitive basketball. Doesn't matter how many hours they spend watching. They watch more hours, and it doesn't help them in any way.
But Michael Jordan inspires people for greatness.
By watching basketball, you only become more of a couch potato, not more of an athlete. The real athletes turn the TV off. And
that's the idea.
The people who have it in them to be vegan benefit nothing from Joey Carbstrong, and the people who are not vegan and never will be vegan also benefit nothing from Joey Carbstrong. So right now, there's a military dictatorship that rules Myanmar. And you could ask the question, the people who support the military dictatorship, what are their excuses? What are their reasoning? Interesting area of anthropology. Like, we can go out and study that. The people who make excuses for communism in China and support we can go out and study that. You know what I mean? That's a form of study. Is that a movement? Is that a revolutionary movement that is going to challenge or overturn that political regime? And even at this lower level, is that something that's going to bring about the type of cultural change that I'm preaching? The book is $1. No, neither incrementally nor in large measure. It's neither one. It's just anthropology. It's just ethnography.